What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So, a couple of days ago, it was actually announced on the news, and we got the court footage of ex-Seattle Seahawk football player Chad Wheeler was actually found guilty of 2 counts of assault on his girlfriend, Ali Taylor. And for those who don't remember this incident, it was a big news back at the beginning of 2021 where the Neander thug Chad Choke 'em Out Wheeler beat his black girlfriend damn near to death and actually thought that he had killed her because when the police got there, Chad Wheeler was just sitting in his chair relaxing, and the girl was crumpled up in the corner, all bloody and beaten, and her bones were just, I think one of her arms was broken. And he said that he thought she was dead already. He thought she was already dead. So he says, I guess we're just going to sit there and let the body decompose in the corner, right? But they managed to get the young lady to the paramedics and saved her life, and she seems to be doing a lot better now. You know, physically she looks good. I think she's doing a lot better now mentally because there's an interview we're going to listen to, and I'll just play the audio. I won't play the visuals, but we'll just listen to the audio, what she says, how she's doing, and what she feels about this bitch Chad Wheeler being convicted. Now I'm wondering what the sentence is going to be for these 2 counts of assault. They said he should get at least a minimum of 5 years. He actually should get more than that. And to be totally honest, the charge should be attempted murder because this fool said he thought she was dead. Okay, he beat her so bad and he thought she was dead, so he should be put in there for attempted murder. But I was one of the few people that reported on this story when it first happened. And I remember that, the internet at the time, especially in the swirl and divester movement, they avoided this story like the plague. They always talk so much about black men and how they mistreat black women. But when this white boy went ham and beat his black girlfriend to a pulp, they didn't want to talk about it, right? And even some of them, when they did talk about it, they still tried to blame black men somehow. They still try to put us in it somehow, right? And I mean, that's pretty typical. And even now with the story, now that the story has reached this zenith where he's actually been found guilty of a crime because he tried to plead not guilty and went to trial, but the trial didn't end in his favor, which I'm glad of. And I hope that he goes to prison and is put in a cell with some men who want to do the same thing to him that he did to Miss Taylor. Okay, because that's heinous. And from what I understand, the reason he even started beating her up is because she would not bow down to him. You see? So I always talk about this in regards to some of these interracial relationships where if you're involved with a white person, they still see you as inferior and they think that you should figuratively and literally bow down to them when they tell you to do something or when they give you instruction. I mean, I can tell how a lot of them think like that when they just by the way they talk when they come to my channel, when they tell me I have to do something or I have to listen or, you know, uh, I have to think this way or I have to make this decision. They think they still own us or they think that they still are superior over us or they can, they have a higher intelligence than us. So we need to automatically just listen to them because they are our masters. God ordained it that way. And if we don't bow down, then they have the right to put their hands on us or commit some sort of act of violence or retaliation. And, this poor young lady got the brunt of that. She got the real life implications and suffered the repercussions of dealing with one of these Neander thugs in that way. So we're going to listen to some of the audio here. The first thing I'm going to play is the news report of him being found guilty, and they're actually going to talk to Alia Taylor and get her perspective on what she feels about the trial and the guilty verdict. So let's listen here.
A guilty verdict convicting her ex-boyfriend of assault has liberated Alia Taylor.
It took me a while to fully process it because it's been going on for so long. It's just, yeah, I'm finally feeling like that freeing feeling, like I don't have to feel so nervous,
Then Seahawk Chad Wheeler was arrested in January of 2021. Court documents allege he choked and beat Taylor during a manic episode inside a Kent apartment building.
And see, that's another part of the story that I did not like when they first started reporting on it. They kept saying he had a manic episode. So already they were trying to paint it in a mental illness light. Like he just snapped from his mental illness. No, his mental illness is that he's a mayonnaise mutant Neander thug. That's his mental illness. Okay, that's his problem. All right? Thinking that he has the right and the might to overlord over a black body the way he was doing. And apparently this verbal abuse and everything had been going on before even this incident happened. So, in my opinion, this young lady, she should have gotten out of there at the first sign of trouble and not have waited till this incident where he almost killed her. She's very fortunate that he did not. Let's keep on listening.
That night, he just decided to kind of take his rage out.
According to court records, officers found Taylor covered in blood and her left arm limp against her body, reportedly telling police she thought she'd already died. Taylor...
Yeah, that's the part I was trying to explain. Chad Wheeler said he thought she was dead already. Okay, so he assumed that he had beat her to death and just left her body there when the police showed up. You see what I'm saying? That's attempted murder then. If you thought you killed somebody, let's keep on listening.
Survived only to see her name released in tabloids and across social media.
I was just like, oh, okay, so this is out. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I want to handle this? Do I want to hide away and let this go under the rug, and then he gets away with it, and then other people are also hurt? Or do I want to just step up?
The court process took nearly 3 years. Thursday, a judge found Wheeler guilty of both first and second degree assault. He faced...
I noticed he's cut off his signature locks because this fool was known for having long, luxurious hair when he's playing in the NFL. Now he's got his head shaved completely, looking like a skinhead, looking like George Zimmerman, actually. Looks a lot like George Zimmerman there. I'll make sure I post a picture when I report on this story and show you guys how he looks in court. Looking a lot like George Zimmerman there. But that's pretty apropos, and that's perfect. For the way he treated this black person, to see that he looks like George Zimmerman, another racist scumbag.
Faces a minimum of 5 years in prison.
I think it's sometimes a bit difficult, especially when holding someone accountable. A person of power, someone popular like that in the NFL, holding them accountable, you can have a lot of pressures on you. So I say first and foremost, be present with how you feel. Don't feel guilty. Don't be too mindful of what everyone else's feelings are about the situation. Be present with yourself.
Taylor sees that night in Kent as a turning point in her life. Today, she's thriving as a model, works in the medical field, and perhaps most importantly, is an advocate for domestic violence survivors.
I just want to break the cycle. I come from a long line of women that have dealt with domestic violence, and I just feel like it just needs to end.
Well, I guess that's a good thing. I'm glad that she's using this incident in a positive light to help other women get out of these situations. Tell them what you went through beforehand. Okay, let them know the signs of domestic abuse so that they can get out of there before they reach a violent incident like you did, because they might not survive like you did. Let's listen to some more. This is another video that I found. I'm going to listen to the audio. This is actually the reporting on the guilty charge, but there's some interesting little tidbits in here that I want to make sure we get out there about Chad bitch-ass Wheeler. Let's listen.
Ex-New York Giant and NFL offensive lineman Chad Wheeler has been found guilty of domestic violence after he was accused of nearly killing his girlfriend during what he called a manic episode back in 2021.
It's not accused. He was caught. The girl was beat up in his house, He admitted to doing it, and he said he thought he killed her. Wasn't an accusation. Okay, people heard the domestic violence. They called the police. The police got there and saw the girl crumpled up in the corner. This was not a he said she said incident. This was not just a random accusation. The woman was beaten to a pulp, laying on the floor. Okay, and he was there at the scene of the crime, sitting there chilling, watching TV. Let's listen some more.
A jury in King County, Washington found Wheeler guilty of 1 count of first-degree domestic violence and 1 count of second-degree domestic violence. And that same jury issued a not guilty verdict on a charge of unlawful imprisonment. Wheeler was remanded into custody following the ruling, and he's now set for sentencing on December 14th.
I'm wondering what the sentence is going to be. Well, we have to definitely follow up and come back and see what the actual sentence is going to be in December. So I'll make sure I make a note of that.
To a spokesperson for the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, officials can now seek a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years for the first-degree charge after the jury found Wheeler used force or means likely to result in death. The spokesperson also said that they can seek a sentence above the standard range for the second-degree charge. Now, this verdict comes nearly 3 years after Aaliyah Taylor says she sustained serious injuries when Wheeler snapped on her at their Washington apartment on January 22nd, 2021. She also said that Wheeler demanded she bow down to him, and when she didn't comply, he attacked her and choked her within an inch of her life.
Yeah, so that's important, okay? That he wanted her to bow down to him, right? So a lot of you wenches and mammies who like to play around with the little slave play and all this other nonsense with these white boys, you better be careful. You better be careful with that when when Zaddy demands that you bow down to him, and I guess you try your strong black woman routine. It's not going to work on him, okay? He'll show you how strong you really are, but a lot of you usually don't do that when it comes to white men. That's only reserved for dealing with black men. But very sick story. Like, I don't like to see anyone abused or beat up or hurt by some asshole like Chad Wheeler. I'm glad he was found guilty, and I hope they throw the book at him. So I'm going to check on this in December, mid-December, when they finally do give him his sentencing, because I want to make sure that he gets the proper sentence for what he actually did. I know he's not, and really, if we're talking about true justice for what he did, he needs to experience the same thing that this woman did. All right, let Big Bubba and the Fleece Johnsons that are still locked up deal with him in their own way. That's what needs to happen to him. You folks let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I very much like to hear your opinions on this story. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.